Hi guys and girls, it's me Iceberg, and today I'm checking out the new Hidizs MP145 Pro for around $169, which you can get right now from Kickstarter as an early bird, or check out their special bundles with various decks or cables. So basically this is a fresh upgrade of the MP145 PLANAR iems, and if you remember them, they were one of the rare iems that become legendary in the PLANAR world at the time. Legendary? Yeah, I'm not afraid to say that. And now Hidizs is releasing a Pro version. Here we get an upgraded PLANAR driver, a new design, new tips, and of course, a new sound signature. I mean, sure, on paper it's a serious upgrade, but you know, sometimes Pro in the name is more about marketing than real change. So let's figure out if that's the case here, or Hidizs has really raised the bar. Let's go. So the MP145 Pro comes in a cubic box with an image of the shells, the model name and a WDC label on the front. And let me say more about that. Well, Hidizs supports the Whale and Dolphin Conservation Organization that protects marine animals and their habitats, as well as working to save the ocean life in general. And if you wanted to support them, just check out their website where you can make a small donation. Do your part to protect whales and dolphins. Anyway, returning to the box, on the side we can see the key features of the model, and at the bottom the specification with 30 impedance and 104 sensitivity, so these are not easy to drive iems, so you'll need to grab a dock to use them. Well, inside the box we get the MP145 Pro shells themselves. Then there is a 2-pin modular cable which is made of 4-core 6N silver-plated copper with colored indicators and metal fittings. This cable feels great, doesn't get tangled or pull the iems down, and there is no microphonic effect, so using it is a total enjoyment. Of course it comes with the 3.5 and 4.4 balanced plugs for connecting to different sources. Then we have a bunch of silicone ear tips. The first set is black narrow bore tips for bass response, next we have standard tips for everyday use, followed by wide bore tips for emphasis on all upper mids and treble. And the last set is a C anemonen tips with a medium bore, which are softer and more comfy than the previous ones, and I'm gonna use them in this review. Also we have two sets of tuning nozzles. The red ones emphasize the lower end, and the silver ones emphasize the treble with the air. Just to let you know, the default nozzles installed on the shells are rose gold balanced ones. The next thing is the upgraded turquoise Hidizs case, which opens like a box and has plenty of space inside to fit the shells and even a small deck. And lastly, we get a manual and warranty in case something goes wrong. Well, moving on to MP145 Pro, these are metal and large like the other planar IM shells and are available in a blue or gold with a silver cable and black with a grey cable, which I have. By the way, there is also a limited titanium edition with a titanium alloy and slightly modified sound due to different materials. The faceplates are also kinda different. We still can see the whale tail on these, but it looks more refined and this ladder definitely changed. Also, here we have the hidden vents, which aren't really visible from this angle. Inside we have a replaceable nozzle that's longer and narrowed, about 6mm in width, which improves ergonomics compared to the previous model. There is also another vent here and the model name with the channel indicators. And on the side we have 2-pin connector facing upwards, which slightly reduce comfort for my ears. Talking about the shape and fit, these shells are smoother than previous ones, but still pretty big, around 10 grams each, which is kinda too heavy, and their shape reminds me more of the MS2 Pro, which doesn't really work for me. In my small ears they stick out significantly and always fall out, which makes listening a real challenge. However, keep in mind I have small ears, so if you are medium or large ears, you shouldn't experience any problems with the fit at all. And the isolation here is quite good if you use them at home or in quiet places, but maybe insufficient outdoors or in noisier environments. Well, moving on to MP145 Pro sounds, the first few minutes were impressive with their two-dimensional soundstage, transparency, and planar nature, and this is probably the main magic of these iems. If you recall the MP145 OG, they were, let's say, a bit rough, sometimes harsh, and not quite balanced, but the Pro is more mature, more lively, with better vocals, better bass, and overall, it feels like it has everything that the previous models was missing. In terms of the overall presentation, the MP145 Pro is more like a mild U-shaped tuning based on the Harman's target, but with emphasis on a balance with the rose gold nozzle, neutrality, soundstage scale, and microcontrol, which is what planar drivers are famous for. But here is another important thing. There are the sound nozzles, and there is actually a subtle difference between them. Personally, I use the pink gold default nozzles because they deliver the most neutral and transparent sound exactly it was intended. With the red bass nozzles, the sound becomes a little denser in the mid bass, and the male vocals get more body and become more massive. But at the same time, the extension and airiness in the treble are slightly lost. And personally, I don't really like this compromise. And the silver nozzles does the opposite. The bass becomes thinner and the emphasis shifts to the upper mids and treble. As a result, vocals and instruments attack sound brighter and even a little piercing. All in all, this is a good setting, but only for certain genres, so I still prefer balanced rose gold nozzles, because with them the sound is more coherent and harmonious. Talking about the bass, here it's more mature, disciplined, almost a reference low end, that balance between planar quality and the desire to deliver a real punch. In terms of quantity, it's slightly above average, with the emphasis shift to the sub-bass. So the sub-bass here is deep, tectonic, and impactful. From the very first track with good infrasound, the sub simply goes really low, with excellent extension and vibration and good records. And it's not just a hum or resonance, but a cleaner, more structured rumble. The mid-bass on the other hand is elastic, punchy, and disciplined. There is a boost here, which is especially noticeable on the red nozzle, but it's very neat, adding weight to the bass guitar, drums, and synth, but without excess. I mean, it's not a bass head wipes when everything needs to shake, but when the tracks need it, it hits hard, deep, and physical. And if the OG was sometimes a bit more smart, the Pro is more neutral, disciplined, where we get less quantity, but way better quality, speed, and separation. While the midrange here is transparent, clean, and detailed, with a slight thickness in the lower mids and smooth, natural upper range. As a result, the sounds seem more mature, natural, and balanced, where vocals and instruments sound lively, physical, and emotional, but without artificial highlighting and very harmonious. In the lower mid-range, Hidizs retained a slight fullness, so vocals, especially male, sound hoarse, textured, and meaty, while instruments such as guitar, cellos, and piano sounds full-bodied with a pleasant body, but without bloat or muddiness. The upper mid-range here is smooth, clean, and articulate, without the sharp peaks or sibilants that are often found in other planars. Female vocals here are more delicate, brilliant, and emotionally penetrating, with a natural timbre and elegant detail, but without sibilants. And finally, the treble here is more sparkly, extended, and detailed, but very controlled and not so spicy as it was the original, especially in the 8 to 10 kHz range, which is big advantage. The Hidizs team did a great job here, removing the aggressive peaks, adding a slight boost in lower treble for presence and sparkle, then a smooth mid treble and a nice, gradual extension in the upper treble with plenty of air but without any harshness or grit. And the overall signature here is bright but not aggressive, with excellent sparkle and air that expands the stage and makes the sound breathe. And yeah, It's all done with that mature, controlled treble that is bright enough and energetic, but fatigue-free for long sessions, especially on the rose and red nozzles. Well, moving to the stage, the most amazing thing is the scale for sure. It doesn't just feel wide and deep, but rather huge and spacious, thanks to the large planar installed inside. It's like being transported into a detailed 3D world, with plenty of space to place the vocals in the center and the instrument around the periphery, allowing them to breathe with clear pauses and transitions from quiet passages to loud explosions with precision and seamless smoothness. And this is a distinctive feature of the planar driver, with its ability to reproduce microdynamics with remarkable precision. In terms of scale, I would say it's slightly larger than the original, especially in the depth, which makes it more suitable for immersing yourself into the music. Okay, I compared them to the original earlier in my review, so let's compare these to the other planars, starting with the Sivga Nightingale Pro for around $300 with the same planar drivers. Well, these are the same balanced and quite neutral iems with a more linear presentation, modest bass, but the focus here is shifted towards the upper mids and treble, which makes them more calm, organic and almost reference sound closer to monitor-like with an emphasis on naturalness and space. Compared to the MP145 Pro, these may sound flatter and duller, so for the less money, I would choose the heroes of this review. And comparing them to the 7Hz Diablo for about the same $149, this is real bass madness, but without sacrificing clarity and technicality. And here the choice is very easy. If you're a bass head or want a planar for drive, then the Diablo is definitely your pick. But if you want a more versatility and tonal balance, then there is nothing better than the MP145 Pro right now. By the way, you can find the review of these two on my channel or in the description below the video. Guys, in conclusion, the Hidizs MP145 Pro is not just a slightly improved version of the OG, this is a more mature, redesigned product that takes all the best from the OG and removes most of the flaws. I wanna be honest with you right now, I was really skeptical when I first got these, because the Pro in the name always makes me worry. But in the end, I'm glad I was wrong. I would definitely recommend the MP145 Pro for those who are looking for the technical accurate, detailed sound with very pleasant vocals and who are willing to get a decent source, because with a good deck they sound noticeably better. So I'll give this 9 out of 10 purely because of the fit, and my final conclusion is simple. The MP145 Pro is a choice for those who want versatility and tonal balance. If you want a transparency, huge soundstage and sound that doesn't tire you out, then this is the option for you. They work well with the jazz, EDM, metal, even rock, classical or country, without sacrificing any genres. But if you're a bass head and want everything to shake, then look towards the 7Hz Diablo. It's just different sound philosophy that the MP145 Pro doesn't have. And that's okay, every IEM has its own audience, and I'm not gonna recommend you something that won't work for you. Thanks to the Hidizs for providing the sample and to you guys for watching. If you found this review helpful, you know what to do. Hit the like button and subscribe, I really appreciate it. Support the WDC, take care, this was Iceberg, I'll see you later, bye bye.